Hi all, welcome to Mathematics with Mr. Charles. This is our first lesson in algebra where we look at addition and subtraction of directed numbers. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to 1. Give the definition of a directed number. 2. Recall the rules for adding and subtracting directed numbers. And 3. Perform addition and subtractions involving directed numbers using the general rules. Okay, directed numbers have both direction and size, also called magnitude. Example, -2, -2, -1.5, 3, 14, 1/3, -1.5 are all examples of directed numbers. Okay, they are all examples of directed numbers. The sign in front of the digit tells the direction, and the digit itself tells the size of the directed number. For example, let me use a different color ink. For example, in this number here, okay, in -2, the sign is negative, so that tells that the direction is left. Okay, left. And the 2 represents the magnitude or size. Okay, magnitude. Right, also called size. So a directed number has both size or magnitude and direction. A negative number is less than 0. Okay, all negative numbers are less than 0, and since all negative numbers are less than 0 on a number line, these negative numbers would be to the left of 0. So if this is a number line, I'll go ahead and draw the number line. Right, so this is our number line. What it means is that all negative numbers would be to the left of 0. Okay, all negative numbers would be to the left of 0, and all positive numbers would be to the right of 0. Okay, so for instance here you would have things like -1, -2, -3. Okay, and it continues. Okay, and to the right you would have numbers like 1, 2, 3, okay, so negative numbers to the left of 0, positive numbers to the right of 0. Okay, now if a directed number is a whole number, then it is called an integer. So notice here we have up here we have -2, -1.5, 3, +14, +1/3, -1.5. Okay, the whole numbers here are -2. Okay, then we have 3. Okay, these are the whole numbers here. Now, all these whole numbers are what we call integers. Integers. And integers are a subset or a subgrouping within the set of directed numbers. Okay, so they are a subset So integers are a subset of directed numbers, and this means that all integers are directed numbers. However, all directed numbers are not integers. So here are the two general rules for addition and subtraction of directed numbers. So we say when the signs are different, you subtract the smaller number from the larger number and you keep the sign of the larger one. For example, let's say we have an expression in the form -x, okay, which x can represent any number, plus y. The signs are different. You have a negative sign here and a positive sign here. So because the signs are different, you would have to subtract whichever one of the numbers is smaller, okay, from whichever one is larger, okay. So you would be able to get your answer. All right, so when the signs are different, you subtract and keep the sign of the larger number. When the signs are the same, you add and you keep that sign. So for example, if you have a number a plus another number b, both a and b are positive. Therefore, you would have to add a to b, okay? So you'll be able to get your answer. Then, Let's say you have another example, negative m minus n. Again, both numbers are negative, so you'd have to add and keep that sign. Good, so let's look at some examples. Okay, so in this question we are asked to evaluate 25 plus 16. So 25 plus 16. Now both 25 and 16 are positive, meaning that the signs are the same. So let me just write that both. So let's go ahead and add 25 and 16. So 25 plus 16. 25 plus 16 equals 41, which is our answer. Okay, great. In this question, we are asked to simplify 30 plus 28. Now, again, both 30 and 28 are positive, meaning that the signs are the same. As a result, we need to add and keep that sign. We need to add and keep that sign. So let's go ahead and add 30 plus 28. And that's a simple one. Okay, it would get more complicated as we go along. 8 plus 0 is what? 8, right? So 8 plus 0 is 8. And 3 plus 2 is 5. Okay, so therefore 30 plus 28 equals 58. Okay, 30 plus 28 equals 58. Okay, 30 plus 28 equals 58, and that is our answer. Okay. This question asks us to simplify 11 minus 23. Okay, in this case, the 11 is positive and the 23 is negative. Their signs are different. So we have positive 11 and negative 23. So because the signs are different, we need to subtract the smaller from the larger and keep the sign that is associated with the larger number. Okay, so let me just write that on the side here. Okay, we need to subtract the smaller number 11 from the larger number 23 and keep the sign of, or the sign associated with the larger number, okay, which is negative. So we know our answer will be negative. So let us go ahead and subtract 11 from 23. So 23 subtract 11 equals, okay, 1 from 3 is 2 and 1 from 2 is 1. So 23 subtract 11 is 12. However, since we want to keep the sign of the larger number, our answer should be negative. Okay, let me write that. Our answer should be negative since we are keeping the sign of the larger number. Okay. Okay. So therefore, let me use a different color ink. Therefore, 11 minus 23 equals negative 12. Okay, negative 12. And that is our answer. Now, there is something I want you to note very well. Okay, so note very well, or note well, or note briefly. Okay, whenever a larger number is subtracted from a smaller one, the answer would always be negative. So I'll write that here. Okay, so whenever a larger number is subtracted from a smaller one, the answer will always be negative, the value if the smaller number was subtracted from the larger one. So for example here, 11 is smaller than 23. So you're subtracting a larger number from a smaller one. So the answer will be negative, the value if the smaller number was subtracted from the larger one. Okay, so in other words, if you have 11 take away 23 and you want to know the answer would be negative whatever the answer would be if 11 is taken away from 23 instead. Okay, so that's how we could have gotten negative 12 as our answer here. Okay, negative 12 as our answer. Okay, now there is an alternative method to solving this question, and it is based on the fact that 11 subtract 23 is the same as 11 plus negative 23. Okay, Okay, 11 take away 23 is the same as 11 plus negative 23. Now, since addition is commutative, meaning that order does not matter, 11 plus negative 23, 11 plus negative 23 is the same as negative 23 plus 11. Okay, and again, since the signs are different, we subtract and keep the sign associated with the larger number. So we say 23 take away 11 okay, equals 12. And since our answer must be negative, we know that 11 take away 23, 11 take away 23 would be equal to negative 12. Okay, and that's the alternative method to finding the answer to this question. Okay, great. Okay, so just remember that, okay, let me get a different color ink here. Just remember that this entire thing here, this entire equation here is true because, okay, this is true because addition is commutative. And when something is commutative, we say that order does not matter. So let me go ahead and write that. Okay, so addition is commutative, meaning that order of the terms of the expression does not matter. So here, let me get a different color ink. Okay, 11 is a term in the expression. Okay, a term, or one of the terms of the expression, and negative 23 is another term. So whether you put the 11 before the plus sign or after the plus sign, and the negative 23 after or before does not really matter when it comes to addition, because addition is commutative. That's why we could have said 11 plus 23, negative 23 is the same as negative 23 plus 11. Okay? Okay, this question asks, what is the value of 30 minus negative 28? 30 minus negative 28. So if you look carefully, you would notice that in the middle here, we have two negative signs. And there is a rule for that. Okay, the rule states that whenever there are two signs between two numbers, both signs must be multiplied to get one sign. So I'll write that on the side here. Okay, whenever there is two signs, or there are two signs between two numbers, both signs must be multiplied to get one sign. Okay. Okay, whenever there are two signs between two numbers, both signs must be multiplied to give one sign. So And then we know that negative and negative equals positive, positive multiplied by negative equals negative, and since multiplication is commutative, negative multiplied by positive also equals a negative. Okay, so here we have 30 take away negative 28. This is the same as 30 plus 28 because the two negative side, the product of the two negative signs would be positive. Okay, okay, 30 minus negative 28 is the same as 30 plus 28. And 30 plus 28 equals 58. Okay, 30 plus 28 equals 58. Okay. Okay, here we are asked to simplify 1, take away negative 3. So once again, we have two negative signs between the two numbers. So we have to multiply negative times negative to get a positive. So because of that, 1 subtract negative 3, 1 subtract negative 3, is the same as 1 plus 3. Okay, because negative times negative equals positive. 1 subtract negative 3 is the same as 1 plus 3, which is equal to 4. Alright, so that's our answer, 4. Okay, 1 plus 3 equals 4. Answer. Good. Okay, what is the value of 3 plus negative 9? We have a similar situation here. We have two signs between two numbers. In this case, we have a positive sign and a negative sign. Positive multiplied by negative equals a negative. So the resulting sign or the resultant sign is a negative. Okay, let me put the brackets around them. Positive multiplied by negative equals negative. And because of that, let me get a different color ink. Because of that, 3 plus negative 9, 3 plus negative 9 equals, or is the same as, 3 plus negative 9 is the same as, okay, is the same as 3 take away 9. Okay, so now we are to subtract a larger number from a smaller number. And remember from earlier on in the video, we said that whenever we are subtracting a larger number from a smaller number, the answer would be always negative the value or the answer if the smaller number was to be subtracted from the larger number. So because of that, let me write it here again in case you forgot, in a different color ink. Okay, whenever a larger number is subtracted from a smaller number, the answer will be negative what the answer would have been if the smaller number was subtracted from the larger number. Okay, so I'll write that. make sure you remember this rule, okay? Whenever a larger number is subtracted from a smaller number, the answer will always be equal to negative the value of what the answer would have been if the smaller number was subtracted from the larger number instead. So 3 subtract 9 is equal to negative what 9 subtract 3 would have been. Okay, and we know 9 subtract 3 is 6. Okay, 9 take away 3 equals 6. So since 9 take away 3 equals 6, therefore 3 take away 9 would be negative 6. And that is our answer. Okay, very well. Okay, next question. Simplify negative 8 plus 5. Okay, negative 8 plus 5. So here we have negative 8, which is we would say negative 8 may be simplified to positive 8, since a negative times a negative equals a positive. Okay, so we say that negative 8, or the negative of negative 8. Let me make my 8 better than that. Okay, negative or the negative of negative 8 may be simplified or is the same as positive 8 is the same as positive 8 or 8. Okay, since, and I'll put that as a note on the side here. Okay, negative times negative equals positive. Okay, also positive 8 or plus 8 is the same as just saying 8, because whenever the sign is not included in front of a number, it's understood that the sign is negative. Okay, so let me just write that. Okay, so positive 8 or plus 8 is the same as 8, since whenever a sign is not included in front of a number, it's understood that this number is positive. Okay, so since the negative of negative 8 equals positive 8, then negative 8 plus 5 is the same as positive 8 plus 5. And the positive 8 plus 5 equals 13, so our answer equals 13. Okay, negative 8 plus 5 equals 13, and that's our answer. next question. What is the value of negative 13 minus 9? Now, we have negative 13 and negative 9. Okay, let me get a different color ink. So we say 13 plus 9 equals, right, whatever the answer is. So let's go in our margin and work it out. 13 plus 9. 9 plus 3 is 12. One plus 1 is 2. Therefore, 13 plus 9 equals 22. Which is our answer. Okay. Here we are asked, simplify negative 1.5 plus 5. So the signs are different. Okay, the 1.5 is negative and the 5 is positive. So we need to subtract and keep the sign that is associated with the larger number, which is 5. Okay, or we can also say that, okay, let me just write the first part. Okay, we need to okay, the signs are different, so we subtract and keep the sign associated with the larger number. The larger number is 5, the sign associated with it is positive. We can do it like that, or we can say negative 1.5 plus 5 is the same as 5 take away negative 1.5. Okay, let me get a different color ink. Okay. Okay, since addition is commutative, and remember commutative means that order does not matter. Okay, commutative means order does not matter. Okay, order does not matter. So since negative 1.5 is the same as 5 subtract 1.5, okay, we get, so 5, or rather negative 1.5 plus 5 is the same as 5 take away 1.5. Order doesn't matter because remember this here is a term. Okay, this here is a term. So this is a sum expression. So since it's a sum expression, whichever number you put before or after the addition sign does not matter since it's addition. So rearranging this side, we get this side. So 5 take away 1.5. Let's work out what that is equal to. Okay, 5 is the same as 5.0. Okay, minus 1.5. Okay, by now you should be able to work with decimals. You cannot get 0 from 5, so you cannot get 5 from 0 rather, so you borrow 1 from the 5, from the other 5. Okay, so you borrow 1 from this 5, it becomes 4. You take that 1, you put it here, so you get 10. 10 take away 5 is 10 take away 5 is 5. You bring down your point. Okay, all your points must align vertically. Then 4 subtract 1 is 3. So we get 3.5. Okay. So therefore, let me get a different color ink, especially for the visual learners. Okay. Therefore, okay, negative 1.5 plus 5 equals 3.5. Okay, and even if we used this part here instead of this one, we would still get the same answer because when the signs are different, you subtract, which we did, and keep the sign of the larger number, which is positive. Okay, the 5 is positive, which we did. So either way you work it out, you would get 3.5 as your answer. Okay, and that is how you go about doing this question. Good. Okay, here we have negative 1 plus negative 0.9. Now in the middle here we have two signs, positive and negative. So positive multiplied by negative equals positive multiplied by negative equals negative. And because of that, negative 1, okay, plus negative 0.9, oops, negative 1 plus negative 0.9, alright, put that in bracket, is the same as negative 1, okay, because positive times negative equals negative, right? This is the same as -1 minus 0.9. Okay, minus 0.9. And here, okay, let me circle it. Okay, this in this expression here, the signs are the same. Okay, the signs are the same. And when the signs are the same, we add and keep that sign. Okay, so since we add, then we say 1. So 1 plus 0.9 equals 1.9. Okay, 1 plus 0.9 equals 1.9. Okay, but remember our answer have to be negative because we have to keep the sign. So therefore, let me get a different color ink. Okay, therefore -1 minus, rather -1 plus, let me put it in the original form, -1 plus -0.9, okay, equals -1.9. And this is our answer, okay, to this question. Okay, great. Okay, here we have -6 minus -6.5. Now -6 minus -6.5 is the same as, okay, so -6 minus -6.5 is the same as -6 plus 6.5. And in this expression here, -6 plus 6.5, we have -6 as one term. Okay, we have -6 and we have positive 6.5. So the two signs are different, and when the two signs are different, okay, when the two signs are different, let me just write that on the side there. Okay, when the two signs are different, we subtract and keep the sign of the larger number. Okay, when the signs are different, we subtract and keep the sign associated with the larger number. So we have to say 6.5 subtract 6, because we have to subtract the smaller number from the larger number. Okay, let me get a different color ink. So we have to say 6.5 subtract 6. 6 is the same as 6.0. Okay, 6 is the same as 6.0. So 5 take away 0 is 5. Write that under here. We put our points. Our points must be aligned vertically. 6 take away 6 is 0. So we get 0.5. Now we have to keep the sign of the larger number. The larger number is positive. So therefore negative 6 take away negative 6.5. Okay, I'm writing the expression in its original form. Negative 6 minus negative 6.5 equals 0.5. Your answer have to be positive because the larger number is positive, because when you multiply negative by negative you get positive, which would be the sign before the 6.5, which is larger than 6. Okay, so that is our answer. That's our answer here, 0.5. Good, great. Now in this question we are asked to find the value of negative 10 plus 8.5. okay, negative 10, so we have negative 10 and positive 8.5. The two signs are different, and when the two signs are different, we subtract and keep the sign of the larger number. So we have to say 10 take away 10 can be written as 10.0, take away 8.5. okay, the 8 has to come here because the 8 is 8 ones. 8.5, our point must be aligned vertically. So 10 subtract 10.0 subtract 8.5, you cannot get 5 from 0, so you borrow 1 from the 10. okay, you borrow 1 from the 10. The 10 becomes 9, and then the 1 comes right next to the 0, making it 10. So 10 subtract 5 is 5. You bring down your point, okay, and 9 subtract 8 is 1, so you get 1.5. now this 1.5 is the answer you get when you subtract 8.5 from 10.0 or 10. now so we subtracted. Now we have to ensure that we keep the sign of the larger number. The larger number is 10. okay, 10 is larger than 8.5. so since the sign associated with 10, right, the negative sign, okay, since the negative sign is associated with 10, our answer must be negative. So therefore, okay, therefore negative 10 plus 8.5, okay, plus 8.5 equals negative 1.5. yes, negative 1.5, because the larger number 10 is negative. okay, and that's our answer. okay, so remember, when the signs are different, you subtract the smaller number from the larger number and keep the sign of the larger number. Great. Now here we have negative 6 subtract negative 2/3, so we have a fraction here. So we have negative 6, okay, negative 6 and negative 2/3. okay, negative 2/3. now the sign, also notice that we have two negative signs here. So negative 6 minus negative 2/3 is the same as negative 6 minus negative 2/3. okay, negative 6 minus negative 2/3 is the same as, okay, negative 6 plus 2/3, because negative times negative, okay, equals positive. okay, so I'll write that as a note here. Okay, negative times negative equals positive. Okay, put that in bracket. Negative times negative equals positive. That is how we get this positive sign here. Okay, that's how we get this positive sign there, right? Because negative times negative times negative equals positive. Good. Now we now have negative 6 plus 2/3, so we need to, the signs are now different, so we need to subtract and keep the sign of the larger number. So we need to say, different color ink. Okay, so we need to say 6 subtract 2/3. Okay, 6 subtract 2/3 is the same as, now we could write 6 as a fraction having a denominator of 3. So when the denominators are the same, it's easy to subtract the numerators and get an answer. And we do that by asking ourselves, what number when divided by 3 gives us 6? Okay, what number when divided by 3 gives us 6? And that is 18. So 18 divided by 3, or 18 over 3, is the same as 6. So 6 minus 2/3 is the same as 18/3 minus 2/3. Okay, 18/3 minus 2/3. And as I stated, the two denominators are the same, so you just go ahead and subtract the 2 from the 18. So you get 18 subtract 2 is 16, so you get 16 over 3, or 16/3. Okay, you can also write that as an improper as a mixed number. Sorry. Okay, you could write this as a mixed number. Okay, so 16 over 3. Oops. Okay, 16 over 3 is the same as 16 over 3 is equal to 3 into 16. How many times can 3 go into 16? Okay, 3 into 16 is 5. Okay, 3 into 16 is 5. Remainder 1. So I get 5 and 1 over 3. Okay, 5 and 1 over 3. Let me circle that. Now this 5 and 1 over 3, is that the answer? Well, let's see. Now 6 minus 2/3, well, up here we have to come back up here. Okay, because that's what we considered before doing this. Okay, we had negative 6 plus 2/3, and we said we had to, because the signs were different, we had to subtract and keep the sign of the larger number. So now we have subtracted. Okay, we have subtracted. We now have to keep the sign of the larger number. Is the larger number positive? The larger number is this number here, the 6, and the sign associated with the larger number is a negative sign. So therefore our answer must be negative. So let me write that in a different color ink. So therefore, okay, therefore negative 6, okay, negative 6, okay, plus 2/3, negative 6 plus 2/3 equals negative 5 and 1/3. Or you could say negative 16 over 3, doesn't really matter for me. Okay, and that's your answer. That's your answer. Okay. Now we have here, what is the value of negative 10 plus 3 over 5? Now, negative 10 may be written as a fraction with a denominator of 5. Okay, and to do that, we have to ask ourselves what number, when divided by 5, gives us negative 10. So let's see. That would be 50, right? Because negative 50 divided by 5 is the same as negative 10. Okay, so negative 10 is the same as negative 50. Okay, negative 50 divided by 5. Okay, and okay, and negative 10 plus 3 over 5 is the same as, okay, is the same as negative 50 over 5, right, plus 3 over 5. Okay, the two denominators are the same, so we keep that denominator. Let me use a different color ink. So we keep that denominator 5. So we say this is equal to whatever the numerator is over 5. Okay, so we need to work with the numerator now, or add the numerator. Negative 50, sorry, which is the numerator here, plus 3, which is the numerator here. Okay, this numerator added to this numerator. Okay, now the signs are different, right? You have a negative sign here and a positive sign here. So since the signs are different, we need to subtract and keep the sign of the larger number. Okay, so from this we get, okay, let me just make circle that better. Okay, okay, so we get negative 50 plus 3. So we say the answer would be, the larger number is negative, so we know the answer would be a negative. Okay, then we have to subtract the smaller one from the larger one, 50. Okay, minus 3. Okay, close that bracket and put it over 5. Okay, because remember, when the signs are different, you subtract, which we did inside the bracket here, and you keep the sign of the larger number. The larger number is negative, so that's why I put the negative sign outside the bracket. Now 50 take away 3 is 47, and we carry across our negative sign, so negative 47, okay, over 5. Negative 47 over 5. Okay, we can write that as a mixed number. 5 into 47 is 9. 5, 9, 45. Okay, remainder 2, because 45 and 2 is 47. All over 5. Well, not all over, but over 5. So I get negative 9 and 2 over 5, because a negative number divided by a positive number is a negative number. So our answer is negative 9 and 2 over 5. So therefore, let me use a different color ink. Okay, therefore, negative 10, okay, negative 10 plus 3 over 5, okay, plus 3 over 5, okay, equals negative 9, okay, and 2 over 5. Okay, negative 9 and 2 over 5, and that's our answer. That's our answer. Okay, now here we have 3. Take away negative a quarter, negative 1 over 4. Now first of all, we have 2 negative signs between 2 numbers, so we have to multiply the sign, so we get 1 sign. Okay, negative multiplied by negative, negative multiplied by negative equals positive. Okay, so it follows that let me use a different color ink. Okay, it follows that 3 subtract negative a quarter. Okay, great. Now we have last question. Okay, this is our last question for this video. What is the value of 1 plus 2 or 1 plus negative 2 over 7? 1 plus negative 2 over 7. We have a positive and a negative sign between 2 numbers, so we have to multiply these signs. So positive multiplied by negative would give us what? Right? If you said negative, then you're correct. Okay, positive multiplied by negative equals negative. Okay, now since a positive multiplied by a negative is equal to a negative, then 1, okay, 1, so it follows that, okay, it follows that therefore 1 plus negative 2 over 7 is the same as, okay, 1 plus negative 2 over 7 is the same as 1 minus 2 over 7. Okay, 1 minus 2 over 7. And this one there, let me circle it in red. This one here can be written, okay, this one can be written as a fraction with a denominator of 7. Okay, okay, so to do so, we ask ourselves what number when divided by 7 gives 1, and that number is 7, because 7 divided by 7 is 1. Okay, so 1 is the same as 7 divided by 7, or 7 over 7. Okay, because 7 over 7 is the same as 7 divided by 7. This bar here means divided by. Okay, this bar here, okay, let me use a different color. Okay, this bar here, okay, means divided by. Okay, so 7 over 7 is the same as 7 divided by 7, which is the same as 1. So because this is true, okay, because this is true, because this is true, 1 subtract 2 sevenths, 1 subtract 2 sevenths is the same as 7 over 7, or 7 sevenths, right? Subtract 2 sevenths, or 2 over 7. Okay, and now since the denominator, both denominators are 7, okay, making them the same, we can just subtract the numerator, subtract the 2 from the 7. So we get 7 subtract 2 is 5 over 7. 5 over 7. And that is our answer. Okay, that's our answer. Okay, that's the answer there. Okay, so I know this video was a lot. You definitely will have to look at it more than once. Okay, and pause the video now and again to ensure you grasp the concept presented. Okay, thank you very much for being my audience and for watching up to this point. Thank you very much, and it was a pleasure.